as a society, we can do better. When we are violent and abusive and dismissive towards our children, we lead by example. We teach them to be unsympathetic and uncaring. The problem of violence, I think, the solution to the problem of violence, I think, is not to turn our backs on these vulnerable kids, but instead to keep our minds and our hearts open. What we want to do is we want to make our kids feel understood and valued. We want all of our children to feel understood and valued. And only by doing that can we teach them to also begin to care about others. We need more compassion and not cruelty in this world. Thank you.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, what is conduct disorder? Now, conduct disorder is a mental health disorder where we see troubling symptoms where somebody violates society's norms, sometimes in ways that are illegal. And we oftentimes think of conduct disorder as a disorder that's diagnosed under 18, but it can be diagnosed in individuals who are 18 or older. There are a number of symptom criteria for conduct disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, the DSM. These symptom criteria are divided into 4 categories. The first category is aggression toward people and animals, and there are 7 symptom criteria in this category. We start with number 1, often bullies, threatens, or intimidates others. Number 2 is often initiates physical fights. 3 is uses a weapon to cause harm to another individual. 4 has demonstrated physical cruelty to people, and 5 has demonstrated physical cruelty to animals. Number 6 has stolen while confronting a victim, like armed robbery, for example. And criterion 7 in this first category has forced someone into sexual activity. The next category is destruction of property, and this has 2 symptom criteria. Now, again, there's 15 symptom criteria total, so we start here with number 8. And this has set a fire with the intent of causing destruction. And number 9 is destroyed the property of others without involving fire. The next category is deceitfulness or theft, and there are 3 symptom criteria here. Broken into a house, building, or a vehicle. The DSM actually says car, but I interpret this as vehicle. Of course, this could be a pickup truck, an SUV, a commercial vehicle, an RV. I don't think it really strictly needs to be a car. This is one of those few instances where it looks like there's some imprecise language in the DSM. Number 11 is often lies to obtain goods or to avoid obligations. And number 12 is stealing items without confrontation. So something like shoplifting. That brings us to the 4th category. This one is serious violations of rules. And there are 3 symptom criteria here. The first one of this group, which is number 13 overall, is stays out all night. Now, this has to happen before the age of 13, and of course it has to be in violation of a parental rule. Number 14 has run away overnight at least twice or once if it's for a lengthy period. And the last symptom criterion, number 15, is often truant from school, and again this has to start when an individual is less than 13 years old. So with all of these 15 criteria, 3 of them have to be met in the last 12 months, and at least 1 of those 3 has to also be met in the last 6 months. Now there are 2 other criteria with this disorder. The first is clinically significant impairment in social, academic, or occupational settings. Now what's interesting here is this doesn't say clinically significant distress, like we oftentimes see with the diagnostic criteria in the DSM for any particular mental health disorder, but rather clinically significant impairment. Clinically significant distress is not required for a diagnosis of conduct disorder. And the last criterion is if the individual is 18 years or older, that they do not meet the full criteria for antisocial personality disorder. So conduct disorder also has 3 subtypes and 1 potential specifier. Subtypes, of course, are different than specifiers. Subtypes are mutually exclusive and jointly exhaustive. So if someone has conduct disorder, they have to be in one of those subtypes. The classification has to be used. And you can't have more than 1 subtype specified. So that's the mutually exclusive and the jointly exhaustive. So the 3 subtypes here for conduct disorder are childhood onset type, adolescent onset type, and unspecified onset. And the first 2 specifiers here, childhood and adolescent, have to do specifically with the age of 10 years old. If an individual has 1 symptom before they reach age 10, that would be childhood onset type. If there are no symptoms before the age of 10, that's adolescent onset type. If we don't know when the onset occurred, that's the unspecified. Now there's 1 specifier that's potentially used here for conduct disorder. Now a specifier just adds information to a diagnosis. So an individual can have conduct disorder with the specifier or without. It's not like a subtype. So this specifier is with limited prosocial emotions. We know this is somewhat uncommon, but it is common enough that it is listed as a specifier. And with this particular specifier, the with limited prosocial emotions, there are 4 criteria in this section, and 2 have to be met. And they have to be met for a period of more than 12 months. So looking at those criteria, we see lack of remorse, lack of empathy, unconcerned about performance, like at school or at work, and shallow or deficient affect. Conduct disorder has a number of associated features. These are features that we commonly see with individuals who have conduct disorder, including negative emotions, recklessness, irritability, suspiciousness, and poor self-control. It also tends to be comorbid quite a bit with oppositional defiant disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, sometimes individuals believe that oppositional defiant disorder and conduct disorder are mutually exclusive, that somebody can only be diagnosed with one. Somebody can only be diagnosed with conduct disorder or antisocial personality disorder, but an individual can have both oppositional defiant disorder and conduct disorder at the same time. Oppositional defiant disorder is considered less serious in terms of the violations of social norms.
That's what my nephew was diagnosed with.
And also there is a distressing component to oppositional defiant disorder. An individual with that disorder would have mood disturbances. Those aren't a part of the diagnostic criteria we see with conduct disorder. Another common misconception I see with conduct disorder is this belief that if somebody has conduct disorder and they turn 18, it automatically converts over to antisocial personality disorder. These, again, are 2 separate diagnoses. And it's not automatic that when somebody turns 18, they would be classified as having antisocial personality disorder. Sometimes, when an individual has conduct disorder, the diagnosis is changed if they do meet the full criteria for antisocial personality disorder. And of course, that would have to occur at age 18 or older. But not all the time. An individual can be 18 years or older and simply have conduct disorder and not antisocial personality disorder. I hope you found this description of conduct disorder to be interesting. Thanks for watching.
Conduct disorder in children is very serious. It's a disorder of childhood and adolescence that is long-term, that's chronic, where children have very aggressive impulses, where children are involved in difficulties with the law and really seem to have no disregard for the rules or for authority. When children have conduct disorder, they're definitely at risk of carrying these difficulties into adulthood, which also brings about a myriad of different problems. Children with conduct disorder often have difficulties in schools, have difficulty with relationships, and have difficulty with employment and lifelong, long-term relationships. It's important to recognize that if your child is not doing well in school, if your child has had difficulties where legal action was necessary, if your child is bullying, getting into fights, and this is constant and ongoing, if your child does not get help, these complexities will really exacerbate into other major difficulties. Look for signs of your child's grades dropping. Look for signs of repeated detentions, suspensions, and brushes with the law. Parents, please recognize that if your child has signs of conduct disorder, the sooner you get help, the sooner your child can start to learn more adaptive behaviors.
This week, we are focusing on disruptive behaviors, various disorders.
Right.
ADHD we've talked about, oppositional defiant disorder. Today we're going to talk about conduct disorder. But we're talking about different conditions, and tomorrow we're going to talk about disruptive mood dysregulation disorder.
Right.
But we're talking about conditions and situations wherein children display very challenging outbursts, sometimes rages, sometimes serious disruptive behaviors in different contexts.
Right.
And we're focusing on two sets of behaviors. One is related to intentionality,
Right.
intentionality versus dysregulation. And so we'll be talking about that.
Right.
And the other is, the other thing that differentiates some of these things is the frequency, intensity, and duration of these outbursts.
Right. And I just had a wonderful thought that we'll have to put into my workshops from now on about stuff you were just saying, about the intentionality part. Just because it's intentional doesn't mean it needs to be punished in some way.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
I was just thinking about that. That don't think of intentionality as, oh, I punish this, but I don't punish
Right.
this.
Right.
That's not. There's interventions for all of these things, whether they're intentional or not.
Right.
So intentional doesn't necessarily make it worse.
Right.
It's just a different kind of intervention.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to talk about the one that is worrisome,
Right.
and that is conduct disorder.
Right.
And yesterday we talked about children who have a diagnosis of oppositional defiant disorder, and usually that appears fairly early,
Yeah.
probably preschool years.
Yeah,
Okay,
sometimes.
goes into elementary school, and what we want to be careful of is that the oppositional defiant disorder behaviors don't get worse,
Right.
don't become more malignant.
Right.
Speaking of malignant, when we were doing the field trials for DSM-4,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been in the early 1990s,
Mm-hmm.
I was at the University of Georgia, and we were involved in that. And the head of that study group for the disruptive behavior disorders came in and said, we're finding kind of a malignant type of ADHD, didn't know what to call it. And I mean, that became the conduct disorder.
Right.
Okay, and he referred to it as a malignant type of ADHD. It was more than ADHD.
Right.
And Russ Barkley and Ben Leahy were the two people who said, there's this group that's appearing that we don't really have a name for.
Right.
And the word he used was malignant, and I'll never forget that. And that's really an apt description
Right.
for this group compared to all the others, is that the persistent pattern here is a violation of the rights of others.
Right.
And that's what makes this one a little bit different
Right.
from the others, a little more
Right.
severe, a little more significant.
Right. So whereas oppositional defiant disorder, kids are typically engaging in those behaviors to meet some immediate need,
That's right.
something that they
To
want.
avoid a punishment,
to avoid something.
you know.
With conduct disorder, we're talking about a persistent pattern of behaviors wherein the child or the individual is violating and trampling on the rights and properties and privileges of other people.
That's right. They're violating the rights of others, and they're violating social norms
Right.
or laws or rules.
Right.
Okay. So it's this violation that
Right.
that distinguishes this one.
Right, and as you were suggesting from that work study group in the early 90s, getting ready for the DSM-4, and what we talked about over the last couple of days with ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder, there's a lot of overlap between the behaviors representing these different conditions.
Right.
You know, whether a kid doesn't follow directions because he's choosing to, or he doesn't follow directions because he's impulsive and he's just wanting to, you know, act. You know, he's acting without really thinking about the consequences.
Right.
It's left to interpretation. You know, that's
That's right.
going to be interpreted by the adult that's seeing or having a problem with the behavior, I suppose.
Well, we run into that in our own home. In my home, my wife is from the Deep South. I mean, she was raised in the Deep South. And her idea of violation of rules and violation of norms is very different than mine, because I grew up in the North, and it's just different. There's cultural and regional differences.
And you Northerners, you just let kids run around and do whatever you want.
We let them run around naked and do whatever they want, right?
See.
And so, no, it is a very different culture.
Yeah.
We don't say, yes, you know, you have to come to the South to hear yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. You know, it's just something we don't do up in the North.
Yeah.
And you're not raised that way. And the use of language, profanity, is defined very differently here than it is in the North. Okay? And so you have all these differences, and you're right. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
And so you have to keep that in mind
Right.
as you're looking at these things, because again, there's no lab test for any of this stuff. There's no EEG that'll differentiate oppositional behavior from conduct disorder.
Right.
Okay,
So with conduct disorder, as we said, we're talking about a persistent pattern of behavior where the person violates the rights of others.
Right.
And they do so in a number of ways. They tend to be aggressive, vindictive. We talked about vindictiveness with oppositional defiant disorder, but these kids tend to take it to the next
They
level.
take it to another level.
And
Right.
so we may have, you know, serious behavioral issues, serious vindictive behaviors like fire setting, or, you know, destroying somebody's property, or vandalism of different sorts. And so we're kind of taking this to the adolescent version of oppositional behaviors.
Yeah, with oppositional defiant, we saw that those kids are angry and irritable, they're argumentative, they're vindictive. Kids who have conduct disorder, I think that two main things are they're much more aggressive, and they're aggressive in a predatory way.
Right.
These are kids who bully others. These are kids who prey on others. These are kids who really make life difficult, can make life difficult for other
Right.
people. The other thing they do is they destroy things.
Right.
They destroy property. We always hear about fire setting.
I want to hit this dope, but this kid's sleeping on my bed, so I'm gonna go put him in his bed. I'll be right back. Holy fuck, it's almost 2 a.m. Goddamn. I scraped out 7 of the 11 containers. The last 3 west. These are definitely just reclaim. You're not sleeping in my bed. You have to go to the couch. Well, I got one more scrape out. I guess I'll do that and then wait for him to fall asleep.
You know, one of the first things you learn in our business is, well, if he's setting fires and killing animals, that's because those are conduct disorders. Okay, and so yeah, it is more serious, but destruction of property, either by setting fires or just destroying things, and it doesn't have to be a fire.
Right.
It can be non-fires. It can be anything, just breaking stuff. But again, intentionality.
Right.
ADHD kids break things because they're careless. Kids with conduct disorder break things because they're vindictive, because they're predatory.
Right.
Okay, and then the third thing is the deception. You know, that they lie, and they steal and they lie and they sneak around doing things. Okay, so there's a lot more deception with these kids, and it frequently leads to illegal behaviors, such as theft and shoplifting and that sort of thing.
Right. And many times when you talk with kids who have conduct disorder, there's no remorse. There's no apology really. If there is, the apology is extremely superficial, and it is there solely to avoid trouble, so that they would then likely to engage in that behavior again.
And you get the feeling that what they're apologizing for is getting caught.
Right.
You know, that's I'm sorry I did it. You know, and then to avoid punishment.
Right.
You know, there's contrition to avoid punishment.
And again, if we're differentiating this from ADHD, you know, certainly the ADHD children have been in trouble for shoplifting.
Right.
But it's one of those, I've talked to a number of these kids, and it's like, they're holding something and they see something else that they want. So, I'm just going to put this in my pocket and go
I'll pay for it when I get there.
Right. And so it's not and then when they get there, of course, they forget that it's in their pocket. And so the intentionality isn't there for ADHD. It is there as a very deliberate deceit for kids with conduct disorder.
Right. And again, there's child onset, so the behaviors can appear early in life, or adolescent onset. Right. And many of these kids, they do okay through elementary school, and then they get to those early post-pubertal years, the early years of teens, and the wheels just seem to fall off. You know, these are the 20%. You know, we talk about how difficult adolescence is. It is for 20% of kids. 80% of us get through adolescence with a few bumps and bruises. Right. But most of us get through it okay, and we graduate. Absolutely. It's really difficult for 20, and this is the group that it's really difficult for.
And in differentiating, those with the childhood onset versus those with the adolescent onset, despite the frustration of it, those with adolescent onset tend to fare better. Their prognosis is much better because it comes a little bit later, and they tend to work through those issues, and they return to more healthy, appropriate reactions and behaviors. Those with the childhood onset, because of, anytime you're talking about something that's more chronic, something that's lasting longer, we're talking about more serious concerns. And so if there's a childhood onset, and especially if it goes untreated and isn't managed, then you're talking about a more concerning prognosis.
That's right. And when you have these kindergarten kids who do these sorts of things, who breaking rules, and they show no fear. Right. They're not afraid of the teachers.
Curse out teachers and all that kind of stuff.
They go to the principal's office and tell her to go fly a kite.
I was worried what you were saying. Man, you got me. Good job.
I've learned. I used to do that sort of stuff, right?
I know.
We'd finish and he'd say, you mentioned it.
I got to edit, but now it's okay. I don't have to.
So even I can learn, right?
Man.
Old dogs and new tricks.
I wasn't going to say it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's true.
I know what you're thinking. I forgot what I was thinking.
But with
the
the
early onset is troublesome because if a child, but we don't know. The other thing is I can't tell you in a particular 5-year-old whether that child is going to be socialized gradually through the first 2 or 3 years of school,
Right.
or whether it's going to persist.
Right.
What we do know is that by the end of 3rd grade, by the time a child is about 8, if they're still displaying these kind of behaviors, we're probably looking at a chronic condition.
Right.
Okay, most kids get socialized by the end of 3rd grade. Those who don't, we're probably looking at something more chronic.
Right.
But at age 5, I can't tell you
Right.
where it's gonna end up.
Right.
We just have to do as much as we can. And teachers are very good at doing as much as they can.
Right.
I mean, when you think of teachers taking all these kids in at age 5, and by the end of 3rd grade, most of them are doing just fine.
Right.
You know, that's pretty impressive work.
It is, and so as we're thinking about again these differentiations with oppositional defiant disorder and conduct disorder, we tend to see these behaviors based through intent.
Right.
There's a deliberateness to their behaviors, and when we talk about frequency, duration, and intensity,
Right.
the intensity. The intensity, frequency, and duration is going to be dependent upon how quickly they get what they want.
Right.
Right. If they have a plan to get back at somebody who they feel has done them wrong, this may be a quote unquote duration that lasts days. They may not be chronically irritable. They may not even show signs that they're planning for those days. But it can last days, and when you talk to them, well, why did you do that? Well, last week he said this to me, and so
I had to get even.
I had to get him back for that. So the duration and intensity and frequency are going to be dependent upon what it is they're trying to achieve, and it's going to meet those needs, meet that goal, and then it'll be gone, and then you may be getting ready for the next one.
Yeah. But you see the intentionality,
Right.
And that's I think the hallmark of these is there's an intentionality.
Right.
Later on, we refer to it as sociopathy.
Right.
Okay, that these are the sociopaths. Well, not all kids with conduct disorder move on to that,
Right. A small percentage.
but some do.
Yeah.
Okay, just like some kids with ODD progress to CD, some kids with conduct disorder progress to antisocial personality disorder.
Yeah.
But again, it's not deterministic.
Right.
We have to do the best we can. And
Right.
hope that we can yank them out of the fire
Right.
before it gets too bad. So we talked about child onset, adolescent onset. That's important. Also, when we talk about deception, truancy is a form of deception. So these kids are frequently truant, and so deception can take many forms.
Right.
But make sure that when you think of conduct disorder, these are much more serious
Right.
said the word charge. More serious charges. They're more serious implications with
Right.
conduct disorder. But it's aggression, deception, and deceit that we want to keep an eye on. But they're in severe form, and they violate the rights of others, and they bring themselves to the attention of even legal authorities because they're doing things that are violating not only social norms, but laws.
Absolutely. Now, tomorrow we're going to shift gears a little bit to our last disorder in this series, and it's disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. It's a brand new diagnosis from 2013 with the release of the DSM-5, and so we will dig into that one tomorrow.
But here you see when disruptive mood, okay, we're moving into a little different area of dysregulation rather than intentionality.
Right.
So again, we want to make these distinctions.
That was spoiler alert. That was going to be the surprise tomorrow. That's all right. It's fine. We'll have some other surprises for you tomorrow when we talk about disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. So, until next time, stay happy.
I can withstand all this criticism. No, deception and deceit that we want to keep an eye on, but they're in severe form, and they violate the rights of others, and they bring themselves to the attention of even legal authorities because they're doing things that are violating not only social norms, but laws.
Absolutely. Now, tomorrow we're going to shift gears a little bit to our last disorder in this series, and it's disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. It's a brand new diagnosis from 2013 with the release of the DSM-5, and so we will dig into that one tomorrow.
But here you see when disruptive mood, okay, we're moving into a little different area of dysregulation
Right.
rather than intentionality.
Right.
So again, we want to make these
You
distinctions.
that was spoiler alert. That was going to be the surprise tomorrow. That's all right. It's fine. We'll have some other surprises for you tomorrow when we talk about disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. So, until next, what? Until next time, stay happy.
I can withstand all this criticism. No,
Yeah?
I can withstand most of it.
Oh, good job.
Quit whining.
You're going to make me edit. All right, until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and forget to be afraid.
Forget to be afraid.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, what is the relationship between oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, and antisocial personality disorder? If you find this video to be interesting or helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss any new videos. So when we talk about the oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, and antisocial personality disorder, and the relationship between them, a lot of times we're thinking that there's a progression from oppositional defiant disorder, ODD, to conduct disorder, CD, and on to antisocial personality disorder, which I'll refer to as APD. Now, we know that, of course, not every presentation of ODD moves on to CD, and not every presentation of CD moves on to APD, but clearly there seems to be some relationship between these disorders, and there's a lot of confusion about how to diagnose these disorders and whether they can be comorbid with one another, and a lot of other questions. In this video, I'll be taking a brief look at the symptom criteria and then looking at the relationship between these disorders. If you want a more detailed description of the symptom criteria, I have separate videos on each of these disorders. So starting with ODD, we see there are 8 symptom criteria for this disorder. An individual would need to have 4 of these symptom criteria to be considered for a diagnosis of ODD, and there are a couple of other criteria as well. But in terms of symptom criteria, it's just the 4 out of 8. And these are in 3 categories: angry, irritable mood, argumentative, defiant behavior, and vindictiveness. When we look at conduct disorder, we see there are 15 symptom criteria. An individual would have to have at least 3 of these symptoms, and they're in 4 categories: aggression to people and animals, destruction of property, lying or stealing, and what the DSM refers to as serious violations of rules. So a couple of examples here would be truancy or repeatedly staying out overnight without parental permission. Conduct disorder also requires clinically significant impairment, not clinically significant distress. Those are 2 different constructs. And if an individual is 18 years or older, they can't meet the full criteria for antisocial personality disorder. So conduct disorder and antisocial personality disorder are mutually exclusive. If an individual has one, they cannot have the other by definition. ODD and conduct disorder are not mutually exclusive. They can co-occur. An individual can be diagnosed with both ODD and conduct disorder at the same time. Now, when we look at antisocial personality disorder, we see there are 7 symptom criteria. An individual would have to have at least 3. And here we see repeatedly engaging in behavior that would be grounds for arrest, lying, impulsivity, irritability or aggressiveness, a disregard for the safety of others, irresponsible behavior, and a lack of remorse. For an individual to have APD, they have to be at least 18 years or older, and evidence of conduct disorder would have to have been present before the age of 15. Now, this is an interesting symptom criterion because this isn't saying that an individual has to have a diagnosis of conduct disorder in order to be diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder later on. This is saying that evidence of symptoms of conduct disorder had to have been present before the age of 15. So this is a little bit subjective as a criterion. The last criterion for APD is that the symptoms aren't exclusively observed during the course of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. So when we look at the relationship between these three disorders, we usually conceptualize ODD as the least severe, with conduct disorder being the next most severe, and antisocial personality disorder being the most severe. We know that ODD is a significant predictor for developing CD. And we also know that CD is a significant predictor of developing APD. Now, there are a few different features of conduct disorder that make it much more likely that we would see an eventual development into antisocial personality disorder. For example, if the subtype of conduct disorder is the childhood onset subtype, which is where one symptom is present before the age of 10, that would increase the risk of developing antisocial personality disorder later on. And also there is a specifier with limited prosocial emotions. That's a specifier for conduct disorder that would also increase.
Conduct disorders are a pattern of persistent and repetitive, antisocial, aggressive, or defiant behaviours that are seen at a level that is more severe than you would expect for a child that age. Conduct disorders are the most common mental health disorder in children. Prevalence runs at about 5% overall before the age of 10. It's more common in boys. In boys, it's about 7%, and girls, about 3%.
What the fuck? 1 in 20.
The most common type of conduct disorder in primary school age children is called oppositional defiant disorder. It's also known as ODD.
Children with oppositional defiant disorder can present with persistent defiant behavior, arguing with adults and actively defying or refusing adults' requests or rules. They may seem spiteful or vindictive, touchy and easily annoyed by others. Severe temper tantrums might be frequent, and children may generally seem angry or resentful. They may deliberately annoy other people and blame others for their own mistakes or misbehavior.
One of the characteristics of full-blown conduct disorder is that there tends to be a victim of the behaviours. It's less about arguing and being defiant, and it's more about hurting and perhaps causing damage to people or to property.
Children with conduct disorder can present with a range of violent and destructive behaviours. These might include aggression and fighting, perhaps with weapons, and frequently lying. In the most extreme cases, cruelty to animals and fire setting.
One distinction that we sometimes make is between socialised and unsocialised conduct disorder. The difference with the socialised conduct disorder is that the child maintains good social relationships. They may even do some of the behaviours with other children. Probably more worrying is the unsocialised child with conduct problems who doesn't have peer relationships, isn't very good at social interactions, and they are more solitary committing these types of behaviours. An interesting distinction we sometimes make with children with conduct disorder is in terms of whether they have lower levels of guilt and remorse about their actions. And it's very important to think about this because it can predict a more severe and enduring form of conduct problem. Children with conduct disorder are quite likely to suffer from other mental health conditions. One of the most common would be ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. A significant minority of children with conduct disorder will suffer from a depressive or anxiety disorder as well. And these disorders are often missed because of the focus on the behavioural problems. But it is very important to remember that children with conduct disorder aren't just bad, they can also be sad. A child may only be experiencing behaviour problems at home and not at school. A parent may feel misunderstood if the difficulties they're experiencing at home aren't understood at school. If the parents are not experiencing difficulties at home, and the difficulties only occur at school, it may be hard for them to recognise and accept that you're finding problems with their child in the classroom.
There are a number of reasons why a child might develop a conduct disorder. Inconsistent and harsh parenting, conflict within the home, child abuse, exposure to substance abuse, extreme poverty, or parental mental health difficulties, or being involved with child protection services. These can all affect a child's behaviour.
It's important to recognise that these factors can interact with each other. It's important not to think about one or two in isolation. In the short term, conduct disorder can impact upon educational attainments, it can lead to elevated stress within the family, and it can also impair the child's ability to make effective and good peer relationships. In the longer term, children with conduct disorder are more likely to have difficult family relationships, a poorer work history, and end up in the criminal justice system. Parents and teachers can help children with conduct disorders by being aware that it's very easy to get into a pattern of paying attention to children's negative behaviours. Adults tend to pay more attention to the negative behaviours that the child is showing and much less to the positive behaviours. And we know that children are driven to seek attention from adults, so this cycle gets embedded. You should think about making a referral to mental health services for conduct disorder if the child's behaviour in the classroom is really quite different to other children. Bear in mind that many children will show these behaviours from time to time. The key thing is to notice when they become a significant problem for the child's learning or with their interactions with their friends and peers. If you suspect a child has a conduct problem, you can make a referral to the child's GP or via a SENCO in school, and potentially to your local child and adolescent mental health service or CAM service.
Many children show challenging behaviour at times, but when this becomes much more frequent and severe than other children their age, or it's having a big impact on your household, or on the child's ability to engage in education or make and keep friendships, Then it is time to seek help.
I just realized my mic was muted this whole time. I'm so glad I mute my mic when I go to hit a toke. But, do you know what? It feels good to vent sometimes. Even though I know nobody's listening. Anyway, I was just saying that due to being stressed out all the time, I'm starting to develop a lot of like health issues. And I need to just fucking calm down before I fucking have liver failure or some stupid bullshit. I need to just... My heart's like really racing. I'm trying to calm down. I was freaking out all fucking day. Just crying. Cause like, the fucking shit kids say, man. Fucking shit kids say. Let's see if any of my videos got views lately. 2 views, 1 views, no views, no views, 2 views. Oh, man. Josh said I made no content. Fuck you, Josh. Look at all this content. How's that for content, motherfucker? I just got stupid shit happening all fucking time. Just all fucking time. And it's just like, I always have this feeling where I just want to go home. I am home. But home isn't about where you are. It's about the people you're with. Sometimes you just don't have anybody in your life. Except a 2-year-old that just beats you up all the time. And you just gotta be nice about it. Because you think he's a fucking sociopath because he doesn't fucking care about you. But, you know, he's 2. It's just... I shouldn't just think he's gonna grow up to be a psychopath. You gotta show compassion, you know. Try to be understanding. Try to explain things to him. But he doesn't fucking understand anything. But I mean... fuck, man. I just don't want to freak out my kid. I don't like it. I hate to be the day that I just like... If I just really just don't know what to do, and I don't want to be non-responsive, and I don't want to, like, I'm already trying to explain it rationally, and I'm already explaining, like, don't be nice, don't be mean. It's just like, this guy's smart, though. He'll do whatever you, like, he'll do what you say you're gonna do if you bribe him with something. Like, I'll be like, hey, man, help fold the laundry, and I'll give you a cookie. He'll do it. But, like, not if you ask him to. And it's just like, he'll just, I don't know. I got all these toys and stuff to engage him with. try to get him to, like, sort them with me and shit. It's like, nah. He's too busy fucking off doing something else. He just run around. I'll be like, come on, you bored? Give me a book. Pops tapes in. It rewinds them, fast forwards them, ejects them, puts a different one in. Watch more Blue's Clues, I guess. Whatever he's to, you know? As long as he's, like, learning. It's just like talking about shapes and colors and stuff. I was, ooh. I wanna draw what we drew today. This is what we drew the other day. Oh shit. Is that a focus? Yeah, there we go. I think I pushed really hard on my eyes. And there I go, I was getting really stressed out. Oh fuck. Oh no. Oh no, I bruised my eyes again. Oh fuck. This is what I get for having high pain tolerance, man. Panic attacks. Panic attacks. 7 out of 10. I've had panic attacks that are worse than childbirth. So I mean, like, I used to get these like sharp pains in my chest, but it was just like as a kid, I just like didn't understand why I was so stressed out. Like as a kid, I just like freaked out all the time. Nobody wanted to deal with me. Well, my parents were just gone all the time. All I had was just like a fucking manipulative as fuck crazy older sisters. But you know, you can't really blame them. Scrapping for whatever's left over is what we had. The dynamic was, I think, like, I don't know about my mom's past, but I remember hearing shit that they said when I was a kid, and I was just like, now that I grow up, I was just like, fuck. What the fuck? They were just, like, talking to people about their past while we were, like, in Australia and shit. Like, didn't know that we were in a earshot. And, like, my dad just likes to talk about, like, fucked up shit. And it's just, he just travels around, so it's like, there's no consequences for talking like a weird fucking loser. He's loud, too. He fucking yells. He's a train conductor. Anyways, this is what me and my kid drew today. As you can see, I colored things in with crayons. He chose to, he was helping. He was helping. He got some spots. You can tell. I tried to get him to point at the S's, but he was more preoccupied scribbling blue everywhere. But he was just going S. I was trying to get him to draw too, but no. He was trying to grab my hand while I was drawing the 7, 8, 9. So I put his hand in it. And held his hand into it, and then just let him start scribbling because that's all he wanted to do. He never wants the ones in the box, or the ones in a container, or the ones on the ground. He wants the one that you're fucking holding. So, I had to keep swapping crayons the whole time. You know how that works. He's just like, why is yours working better? I accidentally broke the black one. So that's what we did today. As you can see. S is for snake. What did he draw here? Is that the snake? I did not draw that. He did. It looks like the snake has like a blunt, or is he sucking a dick? Oh my god. Good times. I really hope I'm not fucking up my kid. I need some fucking help. You know, maybe there's some sort of, like, parenting counseling. I mean, like, CS has already got involved. They were out of my house within 2 fucking months because I'm not doing anything wrong. As they said, I was talking to the one there. I was just like, yeah, I was doing like Montessori style parenting, and you know what? Like, she just like see, she literally the room that you walk in. I was just like, this is the extent of the living space he's allowed in. As you can see, he comes in here sometimes, but it's like, I'm not really in here in the day. Sometimes, not really, but good talk. I'm sorry. Is the chat open? Is anybody here? Did I miss anything? But no. This is good talk. It's funny because I'd rather just like yell into the microphone and have something fucking recorded of me freaking out than actually like talk to people on Discord. Yeah, sometimes I do that, but everyone just like hears my voice and they're just kind of like, "What are you gay or something?" You didn't like I just set off people's gaydars. I'm like, I bet. Good talk. I went into this fucking. I would love to just like go through some servers and just like. It's funny because I'd rather just like yell into the microphone and have something fucking recorded of me freaking out than actually like talk to people on Discord. Yeah, sometimes I do that, but everyone just like hears my voice and they're just kind of like, "What are you gay?" The thing is, something about me. I just set off people's gaydars. I'm like, I bet. Good talk. You know, I went into this fucking. I would love to just like go through some servers and just like. It's funny because I'd rather just like yell into the microphone and have something fucking recorded of me freaking out than actually like talk to people on Discord. Yeah, sometimes I do that, but everyone just like hears my voice and they're just kind of like. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta get the chat. It's fucking. I would love to just like go through some servers and just like. It's funny because I'd rather just like yell into the microphone and have something fucking recorded of me freaking out than actually like talk to people. There's probably a widget instead of being. Yeah, sometimes I do that, but everyone just like hears my voice and they're just kind of like. Weed calls me down. I would love to just like, listen, man. I'm freaking out all day. At least I can just finally relax. You know what? Like, I would probably do better with like a downer or something. You'd think. Caffeine really hits the spot, if you know what I'm saying. Beer can chicken. Oh no.
Oh, it's actually pretty heavy. Wow, there is a whole chicken in there.
Today on the Best Ever Food Review Show, we're gonna take a wide trip to Hanoi and try.
Hey, V, what are you doing? What's going on?
Now I'm a food reviewer.
You're a food reviewer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, take it away. Go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna take a wide trip
we use this camera. This is the big one.
Today on the Best Ever Food Review Show, we're gonna take a wide trip to Hanoi to try a normal food in here.
Oh, did you say normal?
Yeah, I did.
I wouldn't say this is a normal food. I think definitely on the spectrum of like what's normal or a little bit unusual, it's more on the unusual end of foods.
No, it is normal.
Look, it depends on maybe your background and what they've
normal.
experienced. It's definitely not normal. We have traveled to Hanoi, Vietnam to a street side restaurant that is called, V, you're a food reviewer now. What is this restaurant called?
Nhà hàng Mai Hương, gà tần, chim bồ câu tần.
All of that is the name?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. And this place has one of the most unusual food presentations I have ever seen, and I think we can all agree that this food is insanely normal. Right,
Yes,
V?
normal.
Okay, let's go try this normal food. So here we are. We've come to the chicken store. This is very unique and interesting. This chicken is cooked in medicine,
Yep.
basically.
Yep.
You know, there's nothing better than some delicious food seasoned with medicine. You got some ravioli, but you bust in a couple NyQuils in there. Ah, so delicious. Why is the food seasoned with medicine?
Because people believe that it will help your health, and it actually tastes so good.
This stewed, uncanny canned creation is said to have a bevy of health benefits, including improved appetite, aiding in more restful sleep, curing colds, and one last benefit of note. The medicinal herbs in cooked canned chicken are said to promote health and even cure constipation, though for most people, any street food will cure constipation. That's what I heard. Not for me though, iron stomach. How does this help you health-wise?
The black chicken is already considered like more nutrition.
Actually, I went to China. I went deep into a market. We found the black chicken, which is called the silky chicken. It's very puffy, has plumes of plumage, black feet, black bones, black meat. It's supposed to be healthier for you. What are the kind of health benefits of this black chicken?
It contains a lot of protein and low level of cholesterol.
Can I pick up one of these?
I guess so, but let me
Yeah, let's ask,
first.
because this is also the most respectful food show ever. Kai, am I in focus? It's the most respectful food show ever. Oh, it's actually pretty heavy. So, wow, there is a whole chicken in there. Here we can see the head peeking out, and we can see the legs. It's kind of like a mini bird contortionist. Do you know what a contortionist is? Yeah, it's not important. Really, a tiny chicken. It has been feathered. They took out the guts.
Yep.
And then they just kind of crammed it in there. They threw in some herbs and spices. They're gonna heat it up, and then we're gonna eat it. Let's go find out how they make it. We are gonna find out exactly how these canned chickens are made. Obviously, we're going to the back of the restaurant, the VIP area. Already I can smell all the herbs. It's very herby, very aromatic, and a bit earthy. Right here, we have all these empty cans. Where are they getting these cans from?
From beer restaurant.
From beer restaurants, okay. I cannot wait for the weird comments for this video. Honestly, I've heard it called Coke canned chicken, but I only see beer cans here. The debate has raged on for years. What is the best between Coke canned chicken and Pepsi canned chicken? Well, purists know the best is really RC Cola canned chicken. In the US, it's not that unusual to cook chicken with a beer can inside the chicken to help infuse the chicken with beer flavor. Have you heard of that?
No.
Instead of putting the can inside the chicken here, they're putting the chicken inside the can. East meets west, west meets east. It's all different, but a little the same. And we're all being brought together through food, and that's what this show is about. Okay, bye. They literally have hundreds of cans in here. I thought there was gonna be like, here there's about 3 dozen. I'm like, that's a pretty good day. You sell 3 dozen chickens? That's not bad. No, they're selling like hundreds in a day, right? If you've ever been to a Chinese pharmacy, that is what this room smells like right now. A lot of like tree root smell. They're portioning out all these ingredients into each can, and then the last thing to go in will be the chicken. Today's candid can concoction will include a sprinkling of MSG, lotus seeds, dried jujube, various dried Chinese herbs, and a prune. I think this is the part that actually helps you with your constipation, okay? Because prunes are what you're supposed to eat when you're constipated. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I've never had that problem. Finally, the chicken is stuffed with boiled mugwort and shoved in an aluminum can with some chicken broth and steamed for a couple hours. Not only are we eating some delicious chicken, check, cooked in a can, check, we're gonna be walking out of here twice as healthy as we walked in, check. Not bad. Cut. Our meal today uses bantam chickens, a breed of chicken 1/4 the size of a standard chicken. But as we all know, the best things come in small packages, which this is what my girlfriend tells me, at least. And I believe her. They do the bantam chicken, they do pigeon, they do black chicken. So right now you can see she's wrapping the top of the can in a plastic and putting a rubber band around it. Oh, who is the lucky lady? Yummy. Wow, good choice. We're gonna get the black chicken. So right here we have our first beautiful canned chicken. I'm guessing we're not gonna eat it out of the can, but let's find out. Oh, here comes the move. Here's the move. Right into the bowl. She got her little chopstick. She's crowbarring this chicken out of there. And there it is, like a big pile of yumminess. Right? All right, so here we have 2 beautiful black chickens, and let's go to the table. We have have our beautiful black chicken that has been cooked in the medicinal herbs. It smells like Chinese medicine. As kind of like a professional drinker of alcohol, I've noticed a few things about this restaurant. I've noticed this place is open all day. I've noticed that they're making hundreds of cans of this chicken, yet there's nobody here right now. And I've noticed that there are tons of beer bottles and in fact vodka bottles up here. So what I surmise is there are some people who maybe had a little too much to drink.
Yeah, and they come here to have
their hangover cure. Some people are coming here for their hangover cure,
yeah.
and some people are coming here because they just like recycled cans. Okay, we have our fried bread, and we have our salt. And in our tray sitting next to us, we have some kumquat, red chili pepper, Vietnamese coriander, and ginger. Sitting next, we have our, and some people are coming here because they just like recycled cans. Okay, we have our fried bread, and we have our salt. And in our tray sitting next to us, we have some kumquat, red chili pepper, Vietnamese coriander, and ginger.
If you want spicy, put some bread.
Yeah, I want spicy. What do you think I can't take spicy food? I'll take spicy food. Check this out. You want to see something crazy?
Okay, you want-
Bam! Chili pepper.
That's pretty crazy.
Well, you know what, V? For me, it's normal.
Oh.
Wow. You know, I think we learned today that something can be crazy to one culture, but normal to another culture. So guys, maybe we shouldn't judge so much, and we should just come together, especially in regards to food. This has been a message.
You know
this
that-
has been a message. This has been a message from the Best Ever Food Review Show. All right, so here's the head,
Yeah.
and there's the neck. Do you start with that? Oh, that's not bad. Okay, look, it comes right off very easily.
Yeah.
This is the thigh of the chicken. We're gonna dip it in some of this sauce we just
Yeah.
made. Throw it right on back. Let's do it. Mmm. That's good.
Yeah. And you have to drink the soup as well. It tastes so good.
You gotta drink the soup as well.
I think this we can cheers, right?
Oh God, this is middle ground. It's food. It's not quite a drink, but it's a liquid. Okay, we can cheers this. Fall high by yo.
Yo. Earthy.
Fascinating. Wow, it has like some layers to it. At first it's a little bitter, and then it's a little sour, and then it's even like a little smoky. Maybe someone threw a cigarette in that beer can last night.
Oh, that's why it's black, I guess.
That's why it's smoky.
Now you can like see the
Sour, and then it's even like a little smoky. Maybe someone threw a cigarette in that beer can last night.
Oh, that's why it's black, I guess.
That's why it's smoky.
Now you can like see the mugwort herb that is stuffed inside the chicken.
These greens, they were so almost musky, like a thick smell coming from the kitchen when they were boiling these.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's try some of the mugwort. So unique, a little like seaweed, chewy. Sometimes I get a hit of like medicine flavor,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, what is that? And then it goes back to being good. I don't know.
You can dip the bread.
Give it a dip, dip, dip. Put it in real quick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yummy! I love that. I love that.
Don't eat the whole plate. Save me some.
Crunchy fried bread, full of fat, a little nice flavor from the sauce. You gotta try the prune with me. And that single prune becomes a very dominant flavor. This is the drumstick of the chicken, very tiny, very cute. I'm gonna put my little mini drumstick in a little bit of this salt right here, and let's give it a go. We got still the medicinal herbs to season it, give it that earthy flavor, but then the salt is what sends it home. The flavor, overall, I really like it. I actually like it. I never pretend, I'm not a pretender. This chicken's a little cute and dainty for me. I don't know, I would have to eat about 17 of these. V, thank you very much for showing me the food of your northern people. You're from the north, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why V's here, she's from the north. And for you guys, if you would like to experience Vietnam in an awesome way, I suggest you hit up a company called One Trip. They are putting on every kind of tour in Saigon, Hoi An, and Da Nang. They have a food tour. They have a Mekong Delta tour. They have a village tour. So many fun adventures to choose from. For more info on that, click the link in the description box down below. We will see you next week. Peace. What are you doing?
Oh, she's the producer of the show. That's why they did a bit at the beginning. I gotta go to bed. It's almost 3. Goddamn. Rocky Mountain oysters. Oh, that looks sad. Can you turn around?
Hey guys, I'm here with my pet alligator gar Brazos today, and he was getting a little too big for his tank. So I got him a 300-gallon tub. This thing is huge, it's about 8 feet long. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move this tank out of the way, drain the water into this tank, and then fill this tank all the way up, hook up the filter and the heater, and then put Brazos in. Alright, I'm gonna let that drain for a while. I'm trying to make this one light enough to where I can move it out of the way and then move this big blue one in place. Alright, I think I drained enough water out of this tank. Now I'm gonna move this tank out of the way and put this big blue tank in place. Well, I've got the big tank sitting in place. Now I just need to fill it up more and add some sand. Brazos and Charlie are still in this tank. The water level is low, but Gar can live for weeks in just puddles of water. Now I'm gonna go get the hose to fill it the rest of the way up. Be sure to use conditioner if you're using tap water. Alright, it is about halfway full. I'm gonna stop there because I still have to add sand at the bottom. Now it's time to add sand. So what a lot of people don't know is that in this sand right here is beneficial bacteria, and you need that to have a healthy tank. I'm going to take a lot of this sand out and put it in the new tank, and that'll allow that bacteria to already be at the bottom of the new tank. I'm just going to scoop netfuls into the new tank. I got a lot of the sand in there. I know it's not enough to cover the whole bottom, so I got a new bag of aquarium sand, and that bacteria will mix in with that new stuff. If I were to just put new sand in here, I would have to wait a couple weeks for the bacteria cycle to start. I got a new bag of white aquarium sand here. I just rinsed it all off so it's clean. I'm about to add it to the new tank. I just mixed the white sand in. It's still a little murky, so I'm going to let it settle out for a few hours. I'm about to turn the filter on. This filter was running on the old tank, so it's already got good bacteria built up. I got the filter running. Now I'm going to set up the heater on this tank. I'm going to wait a few hours before I put Brazos in to let everything cycle and settle. The water temp is also a little cold too. I've got a plant to go in the new tank.
Scooping back and forth.
Brazos is just chilling right there. I got an aerator for him I'm going to turn on until I put him in the new tank. It's been several hours now, and it is time to move Brazos to his new tank. First, I'm going to move Charlie. Here's Charlie right here. Look how big Charlie is getting. There you go.
Is that crayfish or lobster?
The water's still a little bit murky, but it will clear up overnight. I've been slowly adding water from this tank to the tank Brazos is in to get him adjusted to the water change. This net here, you just want to make sure it's wet so it doesn't rub any of their slime off.
Those kind of fish don't like. Fish is just like, yeah, bro. Put me in a cozy hat. That seems cool.
Here we go.
That's how you catch a fish.
Got him in. Got Brazos in the new tank.
Yeah, you just probably thrash him around. Get quick.
There he goes. Well, I think he likes it so far. He just came up for air. He's got a lot more room to swim in here. Well, Charlie and Brazos seem to be liking their new tank. I'm gonna come back tomorrow to check on him and feed him. Okay guys, it's been a day since I put Brazos in his new tank. The water cleared up great and I think he likes it a lot. I got a bunch of shad thawing out. He has a lot of room to swim in here.
Yeah, he just floats around. I'm sure he can go faster.
Come on. He's swimming fast in here.
He doesn't understand how fast he can go.
Charlie wants a shad. He just fell over backwards. Look at Charlie, he's like sticking his pinchers out of the water.
He's just like, bro, you could have just handed it to me. Yeah, drop it. I'll get
He's
it.
gonna go eat it in his cave. He just barely grabbed onto it.
I've seen these motherfuckers
We got half a shad here for the baby gar.
in the water. The whole time as a kid.
These guys are getting big. I think this one's about 10 inches now. You can swim a long ways in this tank.
I don't think you can go faster than that. Come on.
He's got to be like 18 or 19 inches.
He must not go that
My goal is to get him to 2 feet long before I put him in the pond.
far. Fat fish. Dude. They ain't that fat in the wild. They gotta swim.
Here's some chunks for the little gar.
Their food are fast. Those guys are lightning quick. He just throws them shit. The reason why they strike that fast. They're just kind of chilling. It's just like chill vibes. I've never seen this.
Come on, Brazos.
I can't believe these videos. When you go fishing for these guys, they are fucking like little crocodiles. It's crazy.
Scary to feed.
They look like they got noses on them too. It's nuts. It's just kind of like, it's not my instincts aren't telling
It's weird
me
he's
to
not
strike
eating it
something
yet.
that's dead because I eat living things. But that thing.
He's either really gentle or he snaps at it violently. Look at Charlie tearing apart that shad.
These are just like,
That was actually a new gar that just ate out of my hand that hadn't before. This is usually the big gar that comes and eats out of my hand. These little gar are getting more used to me. Here you go.
what they're seeing him
Oh, I
get
missed
it.
it.
They're not stupid, eh? Like those
He's
are
backing away.
predatory fish. I remember being a kid watching them fucking eat each other all the time.
Stay tuned for a video next week because I'm going to be adding a new addition to this tank.
Those guys are fucking, they're like
You got it. I'm going to throw these 2 chunks on the bottom and watch Brazos search for them. One right there, one over there.
you're almost scared to catch those things when you're a kid.
He sees that one.
You're trying to catch a sunfish. You don't want to catch those when you're a kid. It's just kind of like,
This is how they eat in the wild a lot. They scavenge stuff on the bottom of
no
rivers.
way. Maybe I'm thinking of a pike. What is this? It's a gar. I'm sure they scavenge too.
I think he's getting pretty
Is that what
full.
he said? I don't think so. They're calm and docile. No, I must be thinking of a pike. Like what is it?
Northern pike are unique predatory creatures of evolution. They have developed highly refined sensory systems to help them locate, track, and attack prey items. As anglers, if we understand how these systems work, we can adapt our presentations and patterns to better trigger a response. The first sensory system pike depend upon for locating prey is their lateral line. The lateral line is essentially a series of pores in their skin, which act as neuromasts for picking up slight water pressure movements. A struggling baitfish gives off frequencies that the pike's neuromasts detect, signaling that this is a fish in distress and a possible easy meal. That's why flies, which give off sound, such as jointed streamer patterns or even flies with built-in rattles, work so well. Of course, a large topwater popper that disturbs the surface is the best signal to a pike that the dinner bell has been rung. The second sensory system a pike relies upon is vision. A northern pike's eyes are placed on their head to provide them with exceptional forward and side vision. This dorsally oriented vision is ideal for lie-in-wait ambush hunters like pike. Big northerns love to lie on the bottom or in structure like thick weeds, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting prey. Fly fishers can better succeed by carefully working over structure such as weed bed edges, beaver lodges, and even drop-offs. You need to slow down your presentation with your fly as it goes by these structures so that pike have a chance to spot your fly and then attack. Another means by which a pike's vision can be used to our advantage is by understanding how they perceive prey visually. Known as predator-prey discrimination, a pike will use silhouette, contrast, and behavior as a means of determining what is a genuine prey target. If our fly is the right size and silhouette of a common food source such as a cisco or a perch, then one target criteria has been met. If our fly displays good contrast or luminosity, as many baitfish do, then again, another tick in the box. Then finally, if our fly is presented in a manner that replicates the way the target species swims or acts, then we have the complete package. Of course, all of this predator-prey discrimination is processed in a flash by the pike's small brain thanks to evolution. What does this mean to us as anglers? First, we should cast flies that are the right size to match what the pike are commonly eating. Second, does our pattern have the right colors or contrast to match that prey? And finally, if we present the fly by using the right retrieve at the right depth to match what the pike expects of the prey, then it's all going to come together. Tick off all the items in the box, and then we should trigger a response from the pike.
Why didn't you just go through what he eats? Why didn't you just talk about what he eats? Okay, I gotta watch this 10-minute video.
Wow. Go by two big ones. Holy crap, baby. The wind's shifting the boat. Big pike. Holy cow. Get that reel in. You hear him peel and drag? I guess that lure hit. I don't think a bat. You need that net probably. He's coming right in. Nice pike here, guys.
Nice.
Wow.
Awesome, dude.
Look at the size of that. Heck yeah. Oh man.
Oi.
Oh no.
babe.
Took my lure. I got the net too, and I didn't net him like an idiot.
Up here in Adirondacks is Papa Rome's brother.
Can you get the net behind you?
Yeah, might have hooked something halfway decent here.
I'm not sure if I got a bass or a pike. That's something. Oh, big! Okay, ready with the net? Let's come right to you. Spittle phone on.
Got it, got it. I'm trying. Got it?
7, 8 pounds.
Now we're fishing here with Papa Rome's up in the Adirondacks, and I don't know if we can zoom in. He's way over there, but he'd be proud of that thing.
Papa Rome said he's always trying to catch a pike here in this lake, and we tell him we catch them just about every year, and we just did again.
Lift that up a little bit. Nice.
Pull it out.
Yeah. But I got a net and a...
I don't want to slack it.
I swear to God, I remember like carrying it in my head.
Get ready with that net.
How far out are you? Should I reel mine in?
Dude, we're all three are tangled now. I know they are.
Still got you.
Oh, you're in. Okay, get that one. If you can get that other one, but I don't think so. I think I'm close. We might need the net. Just snapped it.
Oh! Bit off the leader. Bit off the leader. That's the third time we got hit by a pike on this same stretch. We're gonna get this guy.
But he didn't catch a fish. I did this time. This one was fighting pretty good.
You've caught them.
I've been pike fishing since I was
A couple weeks ago, we caught about a 10-pounder.
Nice.
Oh, you don't want me to talk for shorts?
You're not him.
Watch your fingers. Just come over and slice you open.
Here, I did that once when we were slicing the last pike.
Fillet.
What's your fingers? I'll fuck you up.
Bone and fillet right there.
Nice. Fillet.
What's your fingers? I'll fuck you up.
Bone and fillet right there.
Nice.
That's a good on perch. You know,
That is good.
not bad, right?
You have it over like
Yeah,
that.
better.
Just flip.
You want the gallbladder?
No.
It's the heart still beating.
No piercing.
Yeah, edit it out.
No, this is too much work.
You want to try? What's that?
Yes, that's
You wanna
like,
do
how many inches do you
Sure.
know?
You know, it's funny, we were up here 2 weeks ago, and we were trying to fillet fish, and that, he just sharpened that knife, but I got this out of my tackle box. We had two knives that were not sharp. We struggled so bad. I'm on the wrong side, but
That's alright. It's not like thousands of people are watching or anything. Only 3,600.
And for this one, what you have to do is right here, if you look, you'll see the bones right here.
No, Carson.
You said swear already? See the bones right here?
Custom a mache?
These are all the wide bones that come up.
Kids mache.
You want to be on this side of the fillet.
They're also F-bombs.
That'll occur ever.
Pipe. Can you see what I do with a sharpener?
Then you
That's
see
not a knife. Alright, hold on. What'd you say? For a fish that size, that's a good fillet.
And then these are all the bones here, if you look.
It actually is.
See all the bones right there.
Move your monkey fingers. Yeah. So, butterfly fish? That's cool.
And then this is a fillet, and then the other side. So you get 5 bonus fillets out of a pipe.
Just like get the bear out.
Come to my tent.
The bones. Hey! What?
Look, look at this.
again?
You're probably right. And you do the same thing here. If you look here, you'll see all the bones here. Video, see all the bones here?
Is this supposed to be any
You want to be on this side of the
I went
bones.
too deep. That's perch fillet or my ass. Too deep.
Oh, I'm a professional.
Okay.
Okay, guys, it's a professional chop job. How would a professional do it? You're going to sharpen it by cod.
How
do they do it at shop right?
Tilapia.
To make a professional do it.
Vinny's cut. I've eaten dozens of fish that Vinny's cut when my kids like it. I'm sorry!
Beep, beep, beep. What?
This is the R-rated version. Yeah, right.
Nice. That's all. No bone. Really? All the Y bones are in this piece right here.
Yeah.
And then, if you really want to, I gotta put that. And then, if you really want, see, look right here. These are all your Y bones. And then, if you really want, you take this section, gut it, and you can boil it and make stock or soup.
Oh yeah. Chocolate. Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Floating up like this. I also got them more crispy, so I just leave them in there for another minute or two. Nice golden brown, just like that.
Touch the fish. Oh no, I caught the fish. Yeah, fuck that you did. Motherfucker. Okay, I'm done. It's like almost 3 a.m. That's okay, because I am completely out of weed, and I'm not gonna buy it. So I don't sink my money into that. I just scraped every last little tiny stupid little jar I could find. It was 11 of them. 11 of them. I'm done. I'm not gonna do it anymore. But I hadn't token a while, so I really feel like you see, it's dark now. I really pressed hard on my eyes. I'm fucking retarded. I need sunglasses. Maybe I can just say it's my makeup. I get 2 black eyes, it'll be like, who beat you up? I'll be like, I don't know. Beat myself up sometimes. Don't mind me. wonder how close I can get and keep it in focus. I want to do something. Another camera. Anyway, I'm gonna call that my closing bit. Closing bit. Oh my god, there's no such thing as a love. Where's my lovely tomboy, Mimi, my tomboy mommy, milkers, moo 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 moo. Shut the fuck up, internet. Nobody wants me. The whole internet seems to just be like, moo moo moo. Tomboy milkers, moo moo moo. Fucking stupid bullshit. I kind of search it out sometimes, though. Maybe I just want to feel wanted. Can you blame me? Good to know there's a market for you fucking... But it seems to be exclusively... Whoa. Whoa. What? What's going on? Dumb weeb internet weirdos that, They see, oh wait, single mom. Oh, used up. How old are you? 28. Dry eggs. Like, I bet. Took testosterone. Hey, I don't got a lot of time. And it takes a lot of work. Alright. Man. Oh my god, class missed. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to bed. They pretty much just like go.
So I just got this rimless 10-gallon aquarium all cleaned off. I have a really cool idea for it that I cannot wait to get moving here, but I should mention one thing real quick. You'll notice that my finger is all wrapped up here. I unfortunately messed it up the other day when I was doing some yard work. I just want to let you know though, because you're probably going to see it throughout the video, and I also have to build this thing pretty much with one hand. I should be able to pull it off, but...
I was just waiting. I bet you he just... Why did he have to say that? Like... I feel like he cut himself on the glass, and he's just like, nah.
As you'd imagine, that's probably easier said than done. I'll start out with the hardscape. Now what I've selected here are some black lava rocks, and I really like these because you can easily link them together and combine them to create a single cohesive looking structure. Now what I have in mind for this one is to make a cave or an arch or something like that, to where I can put other elements on it and make a really cool looking aesthetic. So I've got my base structure in here. It's 2 arches or an M. This should work really well for what I have in mind, but I gotta lock these together. Because I don't have full mobility, I had to take a few additional steps to create the base cape. Anyway, my entire idea is to create a cave full of crystals or gems. And although I'd love to use something like this citron, I just don't think it's a good option. So instead what I'll do is create pseudo clusters of gems, if you will, out of these glass chunks. As I developed this idea, something that I thought would be really cool to include are these submersible lights. I'll anchor these throughout the hardscape and place the pieces of glass in front of it in order to create sort of a glowing gem look. Securing all of these glass pieces to the stones with silicone was quite a tedious process. Based on the results though, I'd say it was well worth the effort. I'm really loving how the pseudo gem look turned out, especially when the lights are turned on. Although I do wish there were more, there's something that I didn't mention earlier. I'm able to adjust how the lights appear, and each setting makes things look totally different. I got the tank all hooked up with hardware, substrate, water, and a little bit of foliage. I wanted to keep it simple in that regard because I didn't want anything to detract from the scape that I meticulously created. That said, it will look slightly different in just a moment, and I can't wait for you to see that. Until then though, I'm going to add the animals. What I've selected are some black neon tetras, a mono shrimp, and narite snails.
I look like I'm about to. Oh, I forgot to switch it over. You guys are seeing nothing. Just me zoning out.